Hey everyone, happy Wednesday. Whoop, whoop. If you are here, then you made it through another week. So happy hump day and welcome to Wives Wind Down. Yes, grab your glasses because it's time to have some fun. Hey Eminence, thanks for joining. And Uncultured Mind. Hey, how's it going? I'm so excited about tonight. We have a fantastic guest. I cannot wait. But again, welcome to Wives Wind Down. I am 𝗪𝗏𝘃𝘁, and I started this just out of a desire to give women an outlet, whether you're married, you might have been married for a few months, or you're going to get married, or you've been married for a lot of years, or you're thinking about getting married and you aspire to be married. And I wanted to create an outlet for women just so we can have a place where we can let our hair down, have some fun, and keep it real and have some real talk about life and love. I remember when I first got married, I had all types of questions and I was just like, is this what marriage is like? Or how do I be a wife? And like, what does it really take to like stay married? Because a lot of times we always hear like, this is what you do to get a man, or this is what you do to keep a man, and this is how you get married. And it's like, what do you do when you get married? Like, how do I stay married? Hey, Melissa, I see you. Gonna add you in just a second, girl. Yay, I'm so excited. I see y'all coming in here. But yeah, so that's why I created this outlet. I just wanted to have an outlet where we could just be ourselves and just keep it 100 about married life, because you know, we need each other. So shout out to you all. Thank you for joining. I see you, Angela and Jackie. Angela was one of our winners last week. And Ebony, I see you. Angela and Princess, they won the guessing game. And congratulations tonight to Allison K. Mason, because you won the guessing game this time. So yeah. Hey, Michi. I see you, girl. Aw, thank y'all. I see y'all in the chat getting lit. Yes, so I'm so excited about tonight. Melissa, I am so excited to have you on. I can't wait to join you in. So whenever you request me, girl, I got you. And shout out to everyone last week. Y'all were Letitia. If you missed it last week, I mean, you missed a treat. Tonight's going to be a treat too. But last night we set records. Y'all demanded that we do a part 2. So we had to jump back on. Like, y'all were so lit, and I so appreciate it. I give a shout out to y'all and Rashawn Ali, like, so much, because you all held it down. I could not believe it. Y'all know I was like, oh, it's fine. Y'all, she was like, no, the people want to keep going. So I was like, okay, we're going to keep going. So thank y'all for showing so much love. This has truly been a blessing. Women are really having their lives touched and feeling impacted and feeling encouraged and empowered and entertained. So I appreciate that so much. And I'm so thankful. And shout out to my husband, because I wouldn't have Wives Wind Down if I wasn't his wife. And he holds it down. He brings me my glass of wine. He's like, babe, when you want your glass of wine, I'm like, oh, thanks, boo. So shout out to my husband. I appreciate him so much. And just shout out to y'all for holding it down. And remember, in the comments, put a 1 if you're single, 2 if you're married. And I'm going to bring on our special guest now. I'm so excited. I hope y'all excited as I am. Yes. Hope y'all got y'all's glasses, wine, water, whatever, float your boat. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hello. How are you?
Yes, I'm so excited.
Yay! I am too. How are you?
I am great. How are you doing?
Good. First of all, there was a point in my life where I thought purple lipstick was a nude. Like, I wore purple lipsticks every single day, quite literally every single day. So the fact that you have a purple lipstick on, I'm like super, super excited.
Yes. Listen, I'm here for the purple. I'm glad that you had it every day, because it took me like months. Like, when it started to get hot, I couldn't find it anywhere. Like,
oh, listen. First, okay, let me hit you the game. Colored Rain. I believe the name of the lipstick is Berry Rain, and it's a beautiful purple, brown girl friendly, melanated. It is just everything I love about the color purple in lipstick form. It is my favorite.
And that's called Berry Rain? Is that?
It's called, I believe it's called Berry Rain, okay. And it's by Colored Rain. And they are a Black-owned business. Listen.
I'm here for it. Here for it. I have on a girl t-shirt tonight, Black Girl Magic t-shirt, or Black designer, basically. So yes, I'm here for it. Yes, see? Because, see, we're not new to this. We true to this. You know, everybody's like, support Black business. I'm like, I've been supporting Black business. This ain't nothing new for me. Been on it.
Been on it.
Yeah. So
Bet.
listen, we done already got into it already. Let me let the people know who we talking to, okay? Because if
Okay.
y'all didn't know, this is my girl Melissa. So for those of y'all who don't know, let me formally introduce her to you all. Welcome tonight. So Melissa Fredericks, professionally known as Mrs. 𝗂𝘁𝘂𝘁, is
That's
host
me.
of the Love Hour podcast, along with her husband, Kevin Fredericks, 𝗂𝘁𝘂𝘁. You all know they keep us laughing, okay? The growing popularity of the podcast has resulted in a successful tour run along with the real comedians of social media. Followers of the Love Hour adore Melissa and her husband as a couple, but she has also garnered an endearing fan base with her betterment campaigns and her advocacy of self-love. She captivates audiences with talk of her personal journey of self-discovery and self-love, while also challenging other women to find themselves, lovingly accept their uniqueness, and realize their beauty and self-worth. I love that. Melissa is also author of the book Journey to Self-Love, which is a roadmap to help women find themselves and embrace their inner beauty. So everyone, get lit in the comments and welcome Miss Melissa. Woo!
Hey y'all. Oh, I love you too, Uncluttered Mind. I love that screen name. I'm
Yes, I
trying to
love it.
figure out, I feel like I should turn a light on. Hold on, girl. Kev normally be lighting me and stuff. Give me a second. Let me turn these lights on.
Okay. I was gonna say you look fine. Yes, I see y'all. 𝗪𝗶𝘃𝗁𝘂, Twin Love. Yes, and Lakia. I see y'all in the chat. Y'all lit already. Yes. Oh, Toronto. Hey there. Yes, loving Toronto. Melissa getting all that love. I love it.
Okay, I think it's a little bit better. I don't know if it did much to
You
light
look
up
good.
this melanin. Oh, Kev came. Listen, you better come in like just in time. I think
Yes.
I look better now.
Oh, there's Angel. We see you, Angel. Thanks for
Hi,
supporting,
Angel.
girl. That's our boo. I can't wait.
I love Angel in real life.
Yes, listen, we go way back, but that's a whole, I can't wait to have her on. She's coming sooner or later, everyone.
Yeah,
So
Angel knows everybody. I believe she's 6 degrees of separation from to Jesus. Like literally, yes. Angel knows everybody.
Yes, she really does. Okay, so let's get into it. First of all, how are you doing? How have you been doing, especially right now during quarantine and COVID and everything? How have you been, like, emotionally, spiritually, physically, and all of that?
Oh, girl. So, first of all, have you heard of this game called We're Not Really Strangers?
No.
Oh my God. So I'm not a sponsor for them, but I love this game. It's in the game. It's just a bunch of cards and they ask questions that go beyond the surface. And so I felt like your question was one that would be on like one of their cards. We went out not that long ago for my birthday and my friends were over and we played it, which is just answering questions. And you laugh all the way to like crying. Like the questions are those type of questions. And I felt like your question was pulling that type of vibe for me. So
that's the type of night we're gonna have tonight.
Okay, I'm here for it because sometimes I'm like, woo, and then sometimes I'm like, okay, so listen, like life is a lot.
Yes, because we're multidimensional. We are strong. We are vulnerable. We're happy. We're sad. We're here for it.
Yes. So how am I doing? Honestly, I think it's day to day. Some days I'm like this and really like super excited and just lovely. And then there's some days that I'm like, I literally told someone yesterday that I penciled in time on Jesus's calendar for a one-on-one because I need to understand what I did to deserve the year of 2020. I feel like I'm a great person. I pay my tithes. I love Jesus. I love people. I don't understand what I did to get the year 2020, but I need to have a one-on-one. Like me, Jesus, let's sit down, block out 90 minutes, and let's have a discussion because I am confusion. So girl, it just depends.
Yeah. Well, that's real and that's honest and that's all we want. We keep it real over here. And so we're here to support each other. And that's honest because so many times, especially us as women and even Black women, it's like we try to cover, the cliches. Girl, I'm blessed and highly favored, but on the inside, we're dying. So that's honest. And taking it day by day, I think that's the best that any of us can do. I wasn't even going to talk about this until later, but I feel like just where the spirit is moving me.
Girl, follow the spirit. Where you go, I will go.
I want to, because I know that you're saying 2020 has been hard on you. And I think sometimes it's hard also when people are looking at others, you know, whether it's your social media or successful people, whatever, and they think, oh, it must be great. But I just want to personally and publicly tell you that even though it may seem off, to me, I know, and I'm sure you have seen this for yourself, God is still moving through you. I was going to talk about the power of the pivot, but after attending the Love Hour conference, which my husband had the wonderful pleasure of attending a few weeks ago, it might have been a month ago, I don't know, because I don't know what day it is, but we attended your conference, and Eric is one of those types, he's like, yeah, I mean, I'll sign up, it's fine. But like, he actually, even after, was like, yo, babe, that was great. Like, the sessions were amazing. You know, when men say it was good, you know what I mean?
Saying something.
Right, that's saying something. But the way that God used you, and for me, I know that it wasn't just the pivot, but for you had to pivot the pivot. For those of you all who don't know, like, she literally had to pivot the pivot because there were some technical issues, and like where she literally had to switch over to a whole nother platform. And guess what? We all went with it. It was like thousands of us. We were like a little caravan. And I know that for you, it didn't turn out exactly how you had planned, but in my eyes, I saw it as like, look at Melissa. Her and Kevin are able to reach even more people. You know, there were people from all over, from Africa, people married for 4 months, people married for 30 years, and people who were single. And I think that that whole conference and the setup still touched us. But I say all that to say that it was also a realization of how sometimes things in our life don't always go as planned, but we realize that God's plans are better than our own. And I just wanted you to talk about that and how you had to pivot the pivot and how that has like impacted your life, whether in your marriage and even within your personal life.
Oh, great questions. Oh, I love these type of questions. Okay. So, I think specifically with me and in general, I think this year has taught me, and if we all step back, probably most of us, if not all of us, that we are not in control. I think a lot of times we think that we are, and you know, you say cute things like God willing, but you already got it in your calendar. You already bought the plane ticket. Like, you already have an agenda. So you think that you're in control. Okay. And then this year has taught us that we're actually not in control at all. And the uncomfortableness, is that a word? We're going to go with it.
Yeah.
Being shaken, where you're like, I don't know what's next. I don't know where to go. I don't know. That is what we're kind of all living in right now. And so the time of recognizing I don't have control over the situation. So the best thing for me to do is surrender it all to God, to literally say, God, I don't know. And I feel like that was the kind of the journey that I was on. Cause you know, listen, I've been planning the Love Hour conference just as an example. I was getting Facebook memory updates in February of this year. And I didn't launch it until April, and then it didn't happen until July of this year. So I've been planning it for 18 months at least. And I kind of had the idea probably 20 months beforehand. So almost 2 years. You think, listen, I got all my T's crossed, all my I's dotted.
Invoices paid.
I got spreadsheets galore. I got hyperlinks. I got all the things, okay? Like, I'm out here organized, okay? I know what I'm doing. And then all of a sudden Corona happens and God's like, oh, girl, let me just remind you that I am sovereign. Okay, I am in control. And I think that's what this year ultimately has, because there's so many, like, we're going through another thing right now. And I'm just like, okay, God, like, I hear you loud and clear. I am not in control. There's nothing I can do about these things. And so instead of fighting it, instead of going against the grain, instead of pouting, because that's all I want to do all of the time is just be angry and pout and try to figure out why and like think, okay, God, I am surrendering this to you. I am giving this over to you. There is no point in being frustrated. There's no point in being angry. There's no point in crying about it, because what it is, listen, what Donald Trump say, it is what it is.
Who'd you say?
It was the wrong time for him to use it.
Right.
It's accurate right now. it is what it is. And if I can't do anything about it, worrying ain't gonna do nothing but break me out and cause my hair to fall out. Both of things I don't want in my life. So just surrender it. Like, just give it over to him. And I feel like that's kind of the peace and the journey that I'm on in this season, is like, just give it over to God. Just surrender it, give it over, get your 8 hours of rest, drink your water, and try to be as peaceful as possible. Because if God cares for the fowls in the air, he cares for me so much more. So I don't stop worrying.
Mm-hmm. That's good. And like I said, I could see the harvest. Sometimes we sow seeds. I'm still getting blessed off seeds I sowed years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But the seeds that you sowed those few years ago for the Love Hour conference,
Mm-hmm.
I saw the harvest, and
Mm-hmm.
I benefited from that harvest. And so I just want you to know that, because I know how much work you put into that. And so if you never hear from anybody else, just know that. And there was others in the comments who said the same thing. It was like, it was beautiful. Everything the strategy behind it, and the lineup, like, we felt it, and we felt your work. And more importantly, our lives were changed because of it, and our marriage. So
that was so nice. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And speaking of like your journey with that, I know you've talked before about like Kevin and how he's influenced your entrepreneurship and how you transitioned, because you used to be in corporate, but you transitioned. And there was a quote on your page that I love. And you mentioned, you were just keeping honest. You said, the hardest thing for me was not being able to identify what I wanted to do. All you dreamers out there, don't let the world tell you what you should and shouldn't be doing. And that is so true. So tell us more about this, and like how the journey was for you finding what you wanted to do based on what you felt you were purposed to do versus what everybody else was telling you to do.
First of all, do your homework, first of all. Okay, like, let's just take a moment and acknowledge that you like scrolled through my Instagram and found a caption and was like, this is what you said. Let's dive deeper here.
I've listened to podcasts. I've done it all, honey. Yes, this is serious.
Okay, I'm here for it. Mm-hmm. So the couple things. Number one is that Kevin has been funny his entire life. Like, you know, so we've been together since we were 16. I'm 37. That's 21 years that we've been together. And from day one, he's always been funny. That's a really easy, you know, like talent, so to speak, to identify and say, this is what I want to do in my life. I want to monetize this talent of being funny. Super easy. It wasn't that easy for me. I'm not a comedian. I'm not, you know, a lot of these like really nice buckets that you can put people in. I don't fit into those. And so going into this world of entrepreneurship, I found myself where like I can do makeup. I'm not an expert. I went to, you know, YouTube University, but I know enough to get the job done.
Right.
And so my husband and my friends are like, Melissa, you should just do makeup. Like, obviously you're good at it. You enjoy it. That's what you should do. You should make it a, you know, like a side hustle, a business, create a YouTube page off of it, do all of that. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not what I want to do. Like, I get it. I'm good at it, but it's not like, you know, what drives me. And even more as I was like going through and really trying to like articulate and define what I meant, what I was telling them was, I enjoy the empowerment of women. And the idea of makeup and what it meant for me at the time that I discovered it is more important to me than the makeup itself.
Right.
Okay. I didn't understand it at the time, but it took me a little while to like, okay, I figured it out. This is why I don't want to do makeup, because it's really like a layer behind what I'm ultimately passionate about.
Yes.
But people don't always, you know, number one, it takes a while to like be able to articulate that. And number two, people on the outside are just like, duh, you're good at this, so do it. And you can't figure out, like, you low-key, well, I did, you feel kind of crazy and silly, like, I don't know why I don't want to like monetize this, so to speak, because it's so obvious I should do this, but you just know better. And so I guess what I was in that caption and what I encourage people, especially people who fall into those or who don't fall into those really nice, pretty buckets, listen to your gut, follow your gut. If your gut is saying, girl, that ain't it, It's for a reason. Listen to that. And then in those moments, at least for me, it was finding the cause behind the action. So what's the cause behind the makeup? Because it's more than makeup for me. And once I was able to identify that, that's what led me down the path of the Love Hour conference. That's what led me, even when I think about the book that I wrote and some of the content I want to put out, it's more about the cause than it is about the makeup. And once you identify that, I feel like that's when you get down the path of like, okay, this is what's driving me. This is what I'm passionate about. This is what I feel like is my purpose. And when you can tie your purpose to your passion, it's easier to get up in the morning. It's easier to clock into work. It's easier to generate those ideas because they're connected. Now you're doing something that's so much bigger than just you.
Yes. Thank you so much for sharing that, because I just think it's so important, especially with social media. You see people and you're like, oh, I want to do that. Or people are telling you, you should do that. And you're like, when I saw that post, it really resonated with me because I was there. I was like, yeah. People were telling me, do this, do it. And I was like, I'm not, but you'd be good. I'm not doing it. Like, it's not my spirit. I have to do what is aligned with what God has purposed for me. So I love when you said that.
So good. So good. And I think a lot of times it's so easy. We use the analogy a lot of times of a radio and the frequency of the radio. And if you're not all the way dialed in to your gut, which is the Holy Spirit really like nudging you, if you're not all the way dialed in to God and what he's telling you, you can get intercepted by all of these other frequencies of people telling you, go do this, it should be this, you need to be doing this, what about this over here? And you'll get confused. You know, you'll maybe I should have, I don't know, and let me just do that, and just be still. Okay, just be still for a moment, take a moment of silence, and really like do that self work to identify, what am I doing this for? What's the reason? What's the cause? Even sometimes finding the connective tissue. So I like this, I like this, I like this, and I like this. What's the string that ties them together? That's oftentimes the easier way to identify, this is what I'm doing. This is really what I'm doing. It's not just about, because for me, again, I'm going off on a tangent, but for me, it's like, okay, I like makeup. Okay, I like this. Okay, I like fashion. Okay, I like cooking. Okay, I like home decor. Well, girl, that's why I say you just all the things, okay?
Yeah, what is you doing?
What is you doing? You just confusion because you want to do all the things.
Yeah.
So I was telling someone that I don't want my page to be I'm a fashion guru, I'm a makeup person, I'm a home decor person, because I feel like as women we wear all of those hats depending on the season of our life. And I want my page to be representative of a woman that is 360 degrees. So some days you're in the bathroom watching a tutorial because you need to figure out how to do your hair because we're in the midst of quarantine and you can't go see your beautician.
Okay.
I want to represent that. I want to be the woman that just moved into a house and I feel like this is my big girl house. I'm about to throw all my junk away and I'm decorated really nicely. So you go through the season of figuring out how to do home decor. That's what I feel like, honestly, is my superpower, is that I just research things. And I feel like as women, that's just what we do. Your son got an owie, you don't know what it is. Google, Dr. Google. These are his symptoms. This is what's going on. Okay, this is what I think is going on. Grab that alcohol, grab some ginger ale and some bread, and this is going to heal this. Like, it's just the things that we do as women, because we're women are figure outable. Okay,
yes,
we gonna figure it out, and I feel like that's what I want my brand to be. That's what I want. That's what we are. That's what we are as women.
Yeah, I love that. Speaking of women, like, we're wives, and in one of the articles I wrote on 𝗪𝗀 site about you guys, and like I think it was the season leading up to Black Love, and you guys were on there. And I love when it was either you or Kevin, you said you have to love someone in a way that they understand is love and what they feel like is love to them, as opposed to doing things for them that you want. I was like, oh, child, if that ain't a word. But in 16 years of marriage, how long and what did it take for you two to learn and really start to understand that?
It depends on how long we've been married today, because I feel like we're still learning.
Yes, and that's real. That's absolutely real.
I feel like there's so many seasons in marriage, and not just that. There are lessons that you learn along the way, and then there are lessons that you relearn along the way. Okay, I'm happy you followed me. And I feel like that's what we're constantly doing. I read, the 5 Love Languages book years ago, like probably under 5 years of marriage. And you read it, it's cute, you get it mentally, but that doesn't always mean that you put it into action. I always use this example. It's like taking a driver's test, and the question is like, if you're at an intersection and your light is green and you want to turn left, do you go immediately or do you yield? And you're like, yield, girl. I know that's the answer. It's yield. And then you get on the road, you're in this exact scenario, the light turns green and you immediately go to turn left, and you're like, oh crap, I gotta yield. I forgot. It's the same thing I think that happens in life. A lot of times we retain information and it's head knowledge, but we don't always put it into action. And so sometimes as you go through in life and in marriage, there are scenarios that come up that will poke and prime. Remember you learned this? Now it's time to activate it. Remember you know this, in the back of your head, someone can ask you the question, you know the right answer, but that don't always mean you do the right thing. And so I feel like in the season of life that we're in now, we're even more learning how to love each other in a way that we each receive love.
Yes.
That was good. We out here talking.
Listen, that was like, somebody said, speak, Melissa, and somebody else said, great analogy. That was a great analogy, because it's like, you can take the test all you want to, and the cute little says, we're like, what's your love language? Ooh, it's like cute. But honey, until you get into that marriage, you're like, no, is that my love language? And I've even heard people say that sometimes as you evolve and you change as a woman, especially a wife without kids, and then becoming a wife with children, you have children, your love language might have changed, or something may have shifted in the marriage to where you may have evolved your love language. So I love that you said that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, hey, y'all. I'm just now looking at these comments. Hi.
I know.
In here. Hi, y'all.
They lit. I love it.
Hi,
one of the things that I love was you and Kevin have been very open about, like, I guess his lack of vulnerability and him learning how to be more vulnerable with you, which is something that I feel like me and my husband went through the same thing, and he's getting better, but like getting them to open up can sometimes be difficult, and like creating that comfortable space for them. It's like they know they can, but it's just they're men, they're just not used to it. They have to like unbrainwash themselves. But what have you found or noticed that's helping him to be more open and vulnerable?
So for a while, listen, it took me a while to fully like articulate what I meant. But once we got there, I think two things happened kind of simultaneously, and Kevin has talked about this. Number one, therapy.
Amen.
Therapy. I feel like while I do believe that we all should have, very open, honest conversations with our spouse and be able to like freely communicate, there is something about being able to talk to a third party, kind of flushing out those feelings, getting it together, and then being able to come back to your spouse and talk to them in a way that you've thought about it, you've made some connections, you're able to provide like examples, and this is what I like, and this is what I mean. I feel like that was probably one of the biggest turning points for us, where our conversations are able to go just a little bit deeper, where they're not so reactionary, because you're trying to have a deep conversation and now I'm triggered. And after a trigger, listen, this is the sequence. We're talking. I'm triggered. There's an attitude. I don't want to talk anymore. And now it's tomorrow.
Yep. Facts. Been there, done that.
Every time. Okay. So, Kevin has done it and I have done. We're both guilty of like, now I'm triggered. The conversation's over. Don't add me for the rest of the day. It's a wrap. Okay. But now if you've been able to first kind of break through those layers of defense is really what it is. It's really like, we're going deep. I'm about to be offended. I'm about to be hurt. I'm about to start crying. I don't want any of these things. And so that wall pops up. So when someone else is able to kind of like break through that wall, it's easier to have those deeper conversations. The second thing is Kev started reading this book. I wish it was in here. I think it's by John Gottman, and he is the creator of, I think, the 5 love languages. No, the Horsemen, the Horsemen of the 5 Horsemen of the Apocalypse Marriage or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, yeah. Anyways, I think it's called like 8 Great Dates or something like that. I'm not quite sure. The point is this: in the book, they offer prompts is the word I'm looking for questions. And so even a couple weeks ago, he asked me a question, and I didn't know it was from the book, and I literally said, that was a good question. And he was like, I've been reading this book. Look, it's really good, huh? But I think those 2 things, no, not the big leap, the big leap. Y'all in here knowing that y'all some fans for real.
Somebody said the 5 Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
Yes, the 5 Horsemen. Yeah, the 5 Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
Thanks, big hair, bigger heart.
Yes. So anyway, I would say those are the 2 things that I think for us have made the biggest impact the fastest in terms of us having those deeper, more vulnerable conversations. The other thing is, especially for like Kevin specifically, is he's such a doer that he doesn't always have time to process his feelings. He's always on the go, always on the move. And so because of that, he doesn't really stop to think, oh, I'm scared. Oh, this might not. Oh, I got to do it. I got to go. I got stuff to do. I got things to accomplish. I got dreams to hold down. Like, I got to do all these things. So he doesn't always have the time. And so even in this, in COVID, he's had the opportunity to like slow down, process, think. And if you're scared, tell me that, because the fact of the matter is I am too. I literally told him one time, a whole other situation happened with the house, and we were supposed to get the house, and it was a whole situation. Anyways, I told him one time that I was afraid of sharing my feelings because I thought you would judge me. Because he's so quick to want to move on. And I'm like, I want to move on too, but maybe I want to move on tomorrow.
Yes.
Because today, I just need to be sad. Today, I just need to cry and be angry and be frustrated and questioning, like, if I could say this, even questioning God, like, why is this happening? I'm irritated. I'm frustrated. I just want things to go smoothly. Like, I need to be able to vent that to you without feeling like you're going to say, get over it. We got to move on. Let's not think about that. You want to sit here and I don't want you to judge my feelings. I want you to sit in these feelings with me. And so that was, that was a transition. That was a journey. That was a moment of learning in real time.
Yeah, I love that. I don't want you to judge my feelings. And that's 100%. Because whether it's him or whether it's you, like, you just have those days where you're like, I just need you to listen. And guess what? I remember I had a whole breakdown around the whole George Floyd and Breonna and everything, because it was one week where it was just like I couldn't take it, and I just broke down and cried. And being able to have someone there who can, like I said, not judge you but just hold you or wipe your tears or just let you have that moment versus saying, girl, you strong, because sometimes we just can't be strong, and you have to have that moment just to like have your moment, basically. Absolutely. So I love that you said that.
Yeah. And I think we have to be careful too, even in what you just said. I'm like, oh, Melissa, be better, because I always want to not associate my tears with weakness.
Yes. My therapist taught me that.
Yes. And I think a lot of times for us, I feel like because I don't have the girl, get over it. Move on. You feel weak. And my tears aren't a sign. I've said this before. Your tears have purpose.
Yes.
Sometimes they're healing. Sometimes they're releasing. Sometimes it's stress relief. But they have purpose. And holding them in is that's toxic to your body. Child, that's when you start. Your face start breaking out. Your hair start breaking out. You start having panic attacks. You start having anxiety. Because you're holding it in. And so I don't want to associate those tears with weakness. I need to associate them with, my process of healing. And that's okay. That's normal. It's what makes me human. It's what makes me me.
Yes, my therapist helped me to understand that because I was crying to her one day and she was like, Shonda, understand that like just because you're crying doesn't mean you're sad. I was like, it doesn't. I was like, because I feel bad, but I don't know why I'm crying. She was like, sometimes it's just a release. And I was like, oh, okay. It is okay to cry. Because I was like crying and couldn't put anything behind it. I was like, I'm not sad. I don't feel depressed. I know when I'm depressed or if I'm feeling down. And I was like, I'm not feeling it, but I'm just crying. And she's like, it's okay. Sometimes it's just a release. Like you said, it's just a release. And I was like, thank you, therapist.
Can I stay for 30 more minutes? Because I got a lot of tears backed up.
Yes. So the first session, I cried the entire session. Yeah. Literally. I'm like, yes, girl. That's why I love that emotional wheel that emotional wheel you have on your page. I had never seen that before. I'm like, I need to screenshot this and use it. If you all haven't been on Melissa, go to Melissa's page and you have to scroll back a few months or so. And I'll try to post it. But it's like an emotional wheel, and it really helps you to kind of like dig deeper into what you're feeling versus just saying, I'm angry. It's like, well, what are you really feeling? Like, go deeper. I love that.
Me too.
One of the things that I loved on one of your podcasts, which I thought was I was like, ooh, this is good. You talked about accommodations versus compromise versus collaboration. And I loved like the analogy and even the story that you told about like how you guys were trying to decide about moving and stuff.
Yes.
You know how sometimes you're like, oh, that's what that argument's been about. Like I had the light bulb when I was like, that's what we've been like compromising or accommodating versus collaborating. And so share with us a little bit more about that, because I know people in the chat, they're probably like, what is she talking about? But it's basically accommodations versus compromise versus collaboration, and like just share a little bit about that and how you've seen that show up in your marriage and how you navigate that.
Oh, great question. So I think a lot of times in marriage relationships, whatever have you, we always use the word compromise. Everything is a compromise. And that's not always the case. If a compromise is truly give and take, I give a little and you give a little. I get a little, you get a little. But sometimes what happens is I give all and you get everything. And that's an accommodation. And we have to be careful because what we think, because, you hear relationships are compromised, you have to compromise in a relationship. And then you'll be married for 20 years and you look up and you feel all this resentment toward your spouse because you felt like all I've done is compromise and you haven't done nothing. That's because you haven't
compromised.
It wasn't a compromise, girl. He didn't compromise. You didn't compromise, or she didn't compromise. You whatever it is, it wasn't a compromise. It was actually an accommodation. And that's okay too, because in relationships, it's actually, sometimes there is an accommodation that it just has to be done. Sometimes it's a compromise and sometimes it's collaborative. But being able to define those things and being able to readily identify what it is you're doing, I think that's what helps and prevents that those feelings of resentment all those years later. So just as an example to kind of like make it clear, we did this. I don't remember if it was this episode or later, but we were talking about This Is Us. And in the episode, it was a couple seasons. I don't even remember the season it was. A couple seasons ago, and it was when Beth and what's her husband's name, child?
Randall
got into this huge, like the whole season was very Beth and Randall centric.
My heart, I was like, not today, Lord, not today.
Listen, I think all of us would have been like, who's in charge?
Yes.
Who's in charge?
Who's in charge?
Because if they get divorced, okay? Listen, okay? So anyway, in the season, it was all about them, and they have this blow up moment. I promise you, this is probably one of my most favorite moments in all of television. It quite literally.
I already know what you're about to say.
Listen, I love this moment so much. I thought it was so real and authentic, and I thought they did it really, really well. So anyway, Randall and Beth are talking. And they're going through, and Beth has a long laundry list, child, of all the things that Randall has done over the course. You wanted to do this, and we did it. Then you wanted to do this, and we did it. Then you wanted to do this, and we did it. she in the season, she had like got fired or quit or something along those lines. She decided she wanted to go into teaching like dance classes or whatever. And she felt like, again, I have to sacrifice what I want to do because now you want to be a politician. I don't understand why it's always me. That's because she looked up one day and recognized I am unfulfilled. All of my dreams, everything that I've wanted to do is unfulfilled. And the person that I blame is you.
Yep.
Because you have checked off all the things you wanted to do. Why? Because I've made all the accommodations in this relationship. I've allowed you to listen, you fulfilled every erotic desire.
Right.
And I am over here completely unfulfilled. And that's what happens in these, when you look up and you see people 20, 30, 40, 45 years, 50 years married, you're like, why are y'all getting divorced? What's happening? It's all of these years of compounded resentment. And so we have to be careful that when we're in our relationships with our partner or spouse in particular, that we're always recognizing, number one, is resentment starting to build? Do I feel like I'm always the one giving? Is he or she always the person getting everything that they wanted? And these are the conversations even now that Kevin and I have, even entering this entrepreneurial relationship in which it's more of a partnership. So in our relationship before Melissa went full time, I worked, okay, like 9 to 5. I clocked in, I got a paycheck, and Kev did the entrepreneurial thing. So what does that mean? I may have offered my opinion or suggestion, but it didn't hold much weight to me or to him because it didn't impact me that way. We were always straight. Now we're in this relationship together, and my suggestions, I want to have a little bit more weight. My suggestions got to have a little bit, let's think about it a little bit longer before we just dismiss. She got opinions and alternative options and a different perspective. So let's sit down and think about this a little bit differently. And so what does that mean? As partners, that means we need to make compromises. I'm not always going to get my way, but you sure enough ain't always going to get your way either. We have to make sure that we're thinking about things and we're both doing a give and take. It's not just about you, not just about me, but it's give and take. And when you're doing those compromises, that's really the collaboration piece. Let me give you what I would like. Let you write down your list of what you would like, and then let's create a new plan that is our plan, and not just I'm gonna just do what you want to do. You just gonna do what I'm gonna do.
Exactly. See, I told y'all it was one of my, because I had never heard it explained that way, and I was like, and especially, not to say that it's always women, but I think a lot of times with women, they feel like that. And that's, like you said, it's because, and I think some of us, because we've been conditioned to be like that.
Absolutely.
Like, we've been conditioned to, do everything or whatnot. But, and it happens on both sides where it's like somebody may be, over, they're not compromising, but I love that. And I remember when I went to go hear Michelle Obama speak, and she said it plain as day. She was like, Barack, she was like, I used to be so mad at him. She's like, Barack gonna do what he wants to do. If he wants to go play basketball, if he wants to go to the gym, he gonna do it. And she's like, you know what I had to tell myself, Michelle, you gonna start doing what you want to do. I was like, boom. And it just changed perspective, because it's like, you got to make time for you. If he makes time for himself, then you got to make time for you. And so that it doesn't feel like he's always getting to do everything he wants to do, and I have to do everything else, in the house or taking care of the kids and whatnot. So,
and we hold a lot of that weight and responsibility. Again, first of all, I love Becoming. Phenomenal book, but especially audio listening, it's amazing. But I remember the point that you're talking about. She actually kind of mentioned it in the book as well. And the point there is, especially for women, okay, men do it too. So if it's men in here, I don't know, but I know y'all do it too. But I'm gonna just talk to the ladies, okay? We hold the weight and the responsibility of the household. We just do. So I was even telling Kevin just recently, I want to even say like this week or late last week, that I really want to start like taking my brand more seriously and doing more videos and doing these things. But when I have to choose between cooking dinner, cleaning the house, making breakfast, I'm going to choose those things and not do a video. Kevin will do a video every single day. It don't matter what else has to be done. He could be in here sitting next to me, and we could be doing this interview together right now. And he'll be like, give me just a moment. I'm going to just, and go make a video.
Yep.
That's just that comes first.
Mm-hmm.
That is an accommodation. Okay. This is what it is. You are doing this because you are accommodating and you're making the accommodations for your family and you're doing them first. What'll happen is, and that's what happened with Beth, you look up and even Randall was like, I never asked you to do these things. You don't have to. And they don't often, but often we hold that responsibility. So you have to go back to the drawing board. Hey, you know what, honey bunny, listen, I need to do me. So what does that mean? I need you to pick up on the responsibility that are actually ours. Mm-hmm. So if that means I'm cooking on Monday, you cooking on Tuesday. If that means we got to hire somebody to clean this house and fold these clothes, whatever it means, we have to come to a collaborative agreement in which I ensure that I am fulfilled, not just as a mother, mm-hmm. not just as a wife, not just as an employee, not just as a pew member or a minister. Right. I am fulfilled as an individual, as a whole person who had hopes and dreams before I said I do, and before my name was Mommy. I had hopes and dreams. I need to make sure that I'm able to pursue those things, and not just when my kids turn 18. And that's no shade or disrespect for those people that like, I just want to be a stay-at-home mom. Listen, do you, boo. That's what you want to do. That's your right. That's your prerogative. But for those people that's not all that they want to do, then you have to have those conversations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Marcus, we see you represent for the fellas, Marcus. He said
what? Marcus ain't on the gram.
He said, speak up. And I was like, and that's so true, because sometimes when it came to my husband, he was just like, just tell me what you want me to do. Versus me just being like, well, I told him that I was tired and I expected him to go in there and wash the dish. I can't do that. If you want him to go in there and wash the dishes, Shonda, tell him, would you please go in there and help me out and wash the dishes, so that when I come downstairs and actually cook dinner, I don't have to worry about preparing and cleaning up dishes just to clean dishes again. Thank you.
I'm not quite sure why God didn't give men the like, okay, groceries, cook, clean. These things always go together.
Always.
They always go together. I'm not quite sure what synapse broke. And that link is broke. I'm not quite sure. Like, again, I have a one-on-one with Jesus. These are questions I'll be asking.
Yes. And speaking of questions, if you all have any questions, we have like about 14 minutes left. So drop your questions if you have any. I'm like, we're running out of time. I have so many questions.
I know, I talk so much. I'm sorry.
No, don't you apologize at all. Like, you are helping the people and helping me. And like, this is what we do every week. Okay. I do want to do a rapid fire because it's kind of fun. It's kind of our tradition over here at Wives Wind Down. And ladies and gentlemen, feel free to respond in the chat your responses as well. So it's just kind of like a this or that kind of game.
Okay.
All right. Toilet paper, over or under?
Over. I'm not one of those people that care.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. Listen, this is a judgment-free zone. Okay.
Okay.
Now I might give you the side eye sometimes, but it's still judgment-free. Who takes longer to get ready?
Me.
Okay, that's honest. Hair scarf on or off during sex?
Oh, on, girl. It's unless we out on vacation and she got braids on. My hair is short. Wrap it up.
My husband sometimes he's like, you look like a pirate, but I don't care. I'm like, thanks.
Listen, I might tie it in a bow.
And we in there.
Yeah.
Are you cool with being in the bathroom with each other or nah?
Oh, very.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, very.
I'm not
probably surprised. Sometimes I'd be like, we really shouldn't be, because like romance.
I say the same thing. I'm like, we're just too comfortable.
Like, is that a thing? Because we're there.
And especially Eric, he's extra comfortable. I'm like, no,
please. Yeah.
This is kind of interesting only because like there's comedy in the family, obviously, but jokes during sex or nah?
On occasion.
Because we have some sometimes.
Yeah, they come up.
Sometimes this is a sidebar, but sometimes it's hard for me. Like if I'm listening to like old school 90s R&B and like a song, I will start singing. And it's like, he's like, will you focus? I'm like, I'm sorry, this is my.
I can't. Yeah, I actually, for that reason, don't always like music. I like music in the beginning, and then you got to cut it off because now I'm I'm in the music, I'm in the beat, I'm just, a lot of things are happening.
Yes.
I gotta focus.
Speaking of music, when setting the mood, because I know you are a fellow 𝗵𝗲 member.
I am, girl.
So when setting the mood, which of these 3 Beyonce songs would be first on your playlist?
Ooh.
Partition, Rocket, or Dance for You?
Ooh. Okay. Probably. Wait, you said first?
First. Because all 3 will probably be on there, but which one would you absolutely have on the first?
I'm gonna go with Hey Miss Carter.
Yes.
Partition, please. Y'all need all I need is 25 minutes to get all dressed up. I need a song to like get me here.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going with Partition first. Dance for You is, I feel like, because that's the slow it down. Like that's got to be at the end, but in the beginning, I need to be hyped up.
Right. Got a little twerk a little.
Yeah, I need to be. Yeah, I like it.
Okay. Would you rather listen to dad jokes all day or engage in small talk all day?
Oh Lord, I don't like either.
That's my ass.
Woo! Jesus, I hate small talk. I'm probably gonna go with dad jokes. I cannot. I am so socially awkward. Like, people don't understand that I am so weird about people that I get so uncomfortable. Like, I just can't do it. Like, when people are just like, oh, the weather outside is great. I'm like, yes, it is 90 degrees.
Right.
I'm about to say that.
I have a good friend on here, and I'm not gonna call her out, but she's the exact same. And I'm sure she's like, I can relate to Melissa so much because she like despises it.
I cannot do it.
I love it.
It pains me.
And Kev, I saw Kev in chat. Good looking out, Kev. She chose dad jokes, so she obviously chooses it over small talk. So that's progress. Would you rather option A, argue all the time but have great makeup sex, or B, never argue and have mediocre sex?
Ooh, I don't like arguing either though in real life. I don't. I be trying to be non-confrontational. I don't know. I'm gonna go with option A because I know Kevin would probably prefer that. He loves the idea of makeup sex. And I'd be like, I don't want to fight to have makeup. Like,
yes.
Can we just not do that? Like, we have to argue? I just don't understand.
Yeah, I don't want to argue.
I feel like if that's how you are, I feel like you have to admit that's your toxic trait.
Right.
I feel like you have to admit that that's your toxic trait.
Yeah. Facts. Beach vacation or cold cabin getaway?
Oh, beach. Give me the beach. I ain't getting in the water though, but I need the hot water.
Yes. And then the last one, who's usually the first to apologize?
Oh, well, Kev's usually wrong, so.
Huh? Now, sis, I'm not trying to get you in trouble tonight.
What did he say?
I'm just here. Listen, I'm trying to have you come back, so I'm not even trying to get in trouble. But on that note, what is something that I was going to ask you earlier? We got 8 minutes, and then we'll toast it up. But what's something that you love most about your husband?
Oh, this is a great question. Hold on, but time out. Kev, if you're here, I think I need wine. Can you bring a glass of wine?
Oh, yes. Kev, look out for your girl.
Yeah, can you bring a glass of wine? Okay. The question is, what do I love most about him? This was a really sweet question because I've been roasting him all day. Okay, in real life, this is one of my most favorite traits of Kevin. That man is... Kevin wills things to happen to life. He is not one of those people that will, oh, I feel like I should do this. And then tomorrow, I sure wish I could do this. And then the day after, you know what I was thinking would be really good that I should do, but I still haven't done it because all I've been doing is talking about it for a week and a half. That's not Kevin at all. That man will, whatever the idea is, whatever the dream is, he puts it on his back, and he is, you know, saving Private Ryan out with it to make sure that it happens. It is so, I remember early on when boss girl, I can't think of her name right now, but anyway, she was one of the very first people to make a whole bunch of money on eBay.
Oh, yeah, Girl Boss.
Girl Boss, thank you. Her. I remember she came out with a book years ago. Girl Boss was the name of the book, obviously. And I read it. I read that book and was so inspired, okay? Like really, really inspired. And I remember going to bed one night, and I promise you, just as clear as day, I feel like God told me, how dare you read this book and get so inspired by this woman you do not know, have never met, probably never will meet. And you have a man sitting next to you right now that you go to bed with every single night doing the exact same thing. How dare you be so inspired by this person and you have a man doing the exact same thing? And I have never felt a conviction as strong as I felt that. And it is number one. Even earlier today, we were having like a little internal meeting, and he just is like, we need to get this done, and why can't we do this? And I cannot do this. And I was like, okay, listen, if this is going to work, we have to understand one thing about each other. There are going to be times where you're going to have to pull me to move faster, and there are going to be times where I'm going to have to tell you to slow down. And in this moment, I think I'm going to tell you to slow down. But Kevin ain't no slow down. Ain't no pause, ain't no think about it. He goes from idea to action just like that. And that's why it'd be like, he just told me yesterday he was going to do a comedy show. How he got a flyer with 30 dates? Because he moves just that fast. Just that fast. It is his number one. It's why he's successful. I tell him all the time, it's the one separating factor, and this is no shade or disrespect, I'm just gloating on my husband, okay?
Girl, yes.
Okay, good. It is the differentiating factor between him and his peers, and I mean that very broadly, okay? Like not his friends, I mean peers, very broadly. That beyond being a great comedian, Kevin is an astute businessman. That man be about his business, and he treats people fairly. He pays the people what they deserve, but at the same time, he is so much more and so much bigger than just, I want to be stand-up. He sees big. He dreams big. As soon as we move, he's like, actually, where we need to be living is up there. And I'm like, can we just enjoy right here first? Like, can we just... So I know I said a lot, but that's...
No, I love it. Listen, I'm all about, like, this is why we create this outlet, not to bash our men or anything, just to keep it real about love and marriage, the ups and the downs, the peaks and the valleys, but to also inspire and encourage women, you know, and to love on our husbands who love on us so much. So I love it. Like, don't apologize for that at all. But speaking of, did he bring that wine though?
No, girl, hold on.
Lord, we got 3 minutes.
Yeah.
For y'all in the chat, thank y'all so much. For those of you all who are new to Wise Wind Down, we're here every week at 8 p.m. Thank y'all so much for joining. There she goes. Yes.
Here comes
coming through, Kev.
We gonna have that makeup stuff we was talking about. We got, you know, communion. God has blessed us. Whatever we need to do.
Tanksley's in here.
I see Tank in there.
Okay.
God
yes.
I didn't know people called him Tank.
So,
I feel like I made that up.
Who's drinking all of that? Is that you and Kev? Are y'all both?
Just a little simple, do ya?
All this feel how heavy this is.
Y'all can try the spider monkey while you're at it too. So we're gonna wrap it up. We got literally 1 minute and 36 seconds. So Melissa, you have been phenomenal tonight. Thank you so much. Like, it was incredible. The gems were just on point, and I just appreciate your authenticity and just your openness and your willingness and your yes. I appreciate that. So what do you toast to tonight?
Oh, I'm going to toast to what you just said, and that is giving slow yeses instead of fast no's. May that be our mantra. Do the things that you are afraid to do, even if it is a slow yes, do it anyway.
Yes. Cheers to that. And clink, 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 clink. I cheers to all of that. Take a sip.
Oh, this is good too.
Yes. So someone just asked, is this live going to be saved? Yes, it's going to be saved to my IGTV as soon as we drop off here. So I highly recommend you go back, watch it, take notes, and just get what you need from it. Take what you need off the table. We will be here every week. Melissa, tell them where they can find you and anything else.
You can find, listen, let me just, so you can find me at 𝗪𝗶𝘲 on all social media, and that's MRS, which I don't know if that's pronounced Miss, or Mrs., but child, okay, Mrs. Kev on stage. That just don't flow as nicely, but it's MRS Kev on stage.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, and thank you all for tuning in. We'll be back next week again.